So I just got through watching season 2, episode 4 of Pose, and I got a lot I want to say. Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on. So as you can tell by the title, it's not going to be a full review on Pose, but more of a conversation about Candy's character and how we have been treating the dark-skinned characters on the show. Before I dive deep into this conversation, I want to make sure that we are recognizing that Pose is one of the best shows on TV. We don't have a lot of shows like Pose. To see so many trans folks on TV, for me to be able to watch it every Tuesday and watch these stories, some stories that I've never heard before and some I have heard before, it's a beautiful thing. And I'm not trying to come down hard on Janet Mock, because I know a lot of folks were tweeting her and adding her and saying sis, da 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 da. But me understanding the industry and also who is in play and who is at power, I feel like it would be a disservice for me not to talk about something that is becoming so obvious. With that being said, let me call a couple of folks to the floor. I don't trust big mainstream media outlets and their writers to be able to critique or call out some stuff that might be coming across as questionable, because a lot of the folks, we call them blue check Twitter, y'all are kind of looking for a steady check, and I'm not trying to come down on y'all or whatever, but I notice that sometimes we'll see some things and that you all will avoid them because you can't critique a show and they're inviting you on and you want to be a part of the next season and you want to be able to be in the press pool and all that other stuff. So I think it is very important for smaller folks to be able to talk about this stuff and just be honest. I consider myself a small creator or whatever you want to call it. I don't mind having these conversations, and that sometimes when we have these conversations, we are met by a block. They do not want to invite us to the table for anything else because we are too opinionated and they don't trust us to be able to not critique so heavily. So with that being said, I have been questioning Pose colorism since season 1. And I was kind of reluctant to say that last season, but I felt like I was seeing a pattern. I was seeing things that I see so much, and that was with Elektra being very aggressive, how Candy was, she was very aggressive, very loud, and Pray Tell. And I noticed that we did not have a lot of darker skinned characters on the show, which was I'm a little confused. But people say, well, this is of the times, this is what it was, this is a period piece, understandable. I say, okay, that's what it is, but it's also still fictional at the end of the day. Some of the conversations and stuff do not come off realistic or authentic all the time, and they probably, clean it up for us to be able to see it. Now, somebody said that Pose is not necessarily for our community, it is necessarily for the cis community, the cis hetero folks community, for them to be able to watch and be like, oh, we should stop treating trans folks so evil. We should stop being disrespectful to these people. And I look at it the same way I look at Dear White People and other shows. It's not necessarily for us, it's for this specific demographic to be able to understand and try to humanize the folks who they mistreat so often. So we are now in season 2, and we just got through seeing, if you have not, episode 4, Love Like This Before. Never Knew Love Like This Before. And, we just saw Candy, is gone. She died, she was killed, she was doing sex work, and she was murdered by, someone who was paying her for services. And it was kind of a little bit shaky for me because I lost my aunt in this same type of situation. But my aunt was not a trans woman, but she was murdered by the father of her kids and left dead in a motel bed, under a motel bed. So the story was kind of as soon as I heard that Candy was missing and that she was in a motel, I immediately told myself that sis is dead. She's not coming back. She's gone. That's just it. And I don't know if it was just me reliving that moment. The situation happened back in 2010, but I felt like I knew what was coming. And once we, saw Lola come in and tell the story and stuff, and they went to the hotel and they saw that the keys were missing, I had already kind of figured out what was going on. So we get the news that Kandi has been murdered. They told the story. They showed, the housekeeping folks coming in and seeing her dead body. And that's the last time that we would ever see Kandi on this show. Her character, not Angelica Ross, but Candy's character. We saw her like laying down and she had blood on her. So throughout this episode, we saw Pray Tell and him being so aggressive and so mean-spirited to Kandi. Like he's always been at Kandi. Like Kandi is not a vulgar, she's not this and that, but Pray Tell has always clowned her, always clowned Kandi. And that is my issue. You all did not humanize Kandi at all. You all did a terrible job with that. And I just have to be honest. Honestly, Aunt Lydia has been humanized before Kandi was. And that says a lot if you watch The Handmaid's Tale. I didn't see any character development with Kandi. All I saw was her be loud and upset and all this. And then we get to the funeral and, we have Pray Tell, preaching. First of all, I'm going to tell you this. I don't want anybody at my funeral who was speaking ill of me, like using this moment. I felt like that was like not the tea. Honestly, what we could have done is we could have let Kandi die and then go from Pray Tell dealing with how he, treated Kandi later on. I felt like if we were going to let the character die off because Angelica is working on some other projects and stuff and Sis had to move on and do some other things, then I would have appreciated Pray Tell taking more of a moment of realizing how evil he was and dealing with how he treated and how jealous he was, because Angelica was a black woman and she was allowed to be femme and all these things that Pray Tell quote unquote tries to hide in himself, which really didn't make sense because I don't feel like I saw that with Pray Tell's character. I don't feel like I've seen Pray Tell. I've never seen Pray Tell really tone down his feminine energy. So that didn't even feel right. And we see Kandi meeting with her mother and her father, her parents, and we see this Ghost from Christmas Past type of story where it was good. It was good. The story, the woman who played Kandi's mother and the person who played her father, they did that down for it not to be rehearsed. They did it one shot and it was done. That was epic. That was epic, and I felt like, honestly, I would have liked to see Kandi's story of her, not talking to her mom. I would have liked to see more than I would like to see Angel in that piss poor modeling situation storyline that didn't make any sense. And I'm saying all of this is that y'all have the tools. Those two folks who played Kandi's mother were very talented actors and actresses. They were very talented. In that moment, we were able to see Kandi be humanized. But Kandi was only humanized as a ghost. What are we watching? Is Patrick Swayze finna come out? Girl, I felt like somebody was about to start playing with clay. And I understand folks came out and said that, Angelica is working on other projects and that's why she had to leave. But I appreciate Fatima Jamal saying, no, Kandi is Kandi and Angelica Ross is Angelica Ross. So if we would have did a better job of telling Kandi's story in the writing room, we wouldn't have had this situation. And before we even get into the conversation of, they were telling the story of a prominent figure in the ballroom community who was murdered in the same story. If we're going to use that story, even then it doesn't make sense because she was Latinx or Latina or light-skinned. So I'm not, and Kandi is dark-skinned. Honestly, it would have made more sense to do Lola like that. It would, Lola could have took that story. Honestly, somebody said it on Twitter that Kandi honestly almost came off as an extra on the show. Y'all have 3 dark-skinned main characters on the show. That's Pray Tell, Elektra, and Kandi. And Kandi is gone, girl. There's no more mushrooms for her. Sis ain't getting the level up. She won't be on there. So you have Pray Tell and Elektra. And both of them are very aggressive and loud and mean on the show. With that being said, and I had a conversation with a couple of my dark-skinned trans women, and one of them brought, I'm not going to say the name because they probably don't want to be named, but they said that it's interesting that we've never heard any other character besides the dark-skinned characters use the T word and drop the F-bomb. And I didn't go through and watch from season 1 to season 2 and see who dropped F-bombs and the T words and stuff. But I've always heard, you know, Candy said, I heard Pray Tell use the F-bomb a couple of times. I'm kind of sure Electra has, but now that I think about it, I've never heard Blanca. Even when Angel's character was talking about, she said transsexual. Like we got to do a better job. That's all I'm saying. Like, we have to do a better job of allowing dark-skinned folks to be able to be told in a better light on TV. Like, I'm just tired of these same tropes. I'm not understanding what is the issue. I'm not necessarily mad at Candy being killed off on the show. And honestly, to be perfectly honest, I'm agreeing with some folks who saying we don't need to see any trans folk die on TV. Like, we see that is real world type of situation. Like, I was looking at folks kind of odd because folks came on social media talking about, oh girl, if this didn't make you activate, this didn't make you want to do more work. Like, girl, you not reading the stories? Have you not heard the stories of trans women dying? Like, have you not seen these stories every month? We're learning of another trans woman who's been murdered. And you need to see this on TV to feel like you activated to do some work? Like, what does that say when we have to see it on the silver screen or on the small screen at home? Like, this fictional story to be told, and we sit up here and have real stories of trans women being killed to be activated. That made no sense. Save that. Save your tears. Save that mess. These folks are dying for real in real life. So I didn't get that. But I'm getting upset, I'm getting worked up, but I just honestly want the folks over who are in control in the writer's room to do a better job telling dark-skinned characters, because I feel like y'all already messed up for season 2. So if y'all gonna do season 3, you got to do it right. Like, I'm just not going to sit by and allow like this to be said and not say anything. Like, I don't ever have to be invited to any of these things, because honestly, I'm scared that if you do invite me, I'm not going to have the ability to be able to critique, because I'm going to want to be in the room again. And that's why I'm glad that I don't have any proximity to these folks, because I see so often where these folks always jump in these conversations, always, but the moment they have some type of proximity to these folks, they don't want to engage. And I appreciate Fatima for, like, Fatima has been on the show. She has been on the show, but sis was not scared or shook at all for calling out how she saw it, because she knows she is a dark-skinned trans woman at the end of the day. And then people say, well, y'all are upset, y'all fake mad, like we have something to gain. Honestly, if me speaking out on this, I'm probably stopping bags for myself getting some more money, because I'm opinionated. These people do not want opinions that are going to hurt their bottom line. That's period. So I appreciate Fatima for jumping out and having that conversation and telling it as she saw it, because I think I was very disappointed in how Candy was treated from season 1 to season 2. Not necessarily how she was killed, but just how her story was just told. And it was just not the tea. Honest, like, I was more touched seeing that moment with her talking to her mother and father, and her father correcting himself and how he misgendered her. I would like to see more of that. Like let's do a better job. Like, y'all had goals sitting right there. So I'm hoping some better things. I'm hoping Angelica is going to be able to do more things so we can see her. But I'm really only concerned right now with Candy's character and how we continuously treat dark-skinned folks on TV and everything else in media. Like, we have got to do a better job, because this was not it. If you have any questions or concerns, please email me at justin@kingareads.com. That's all I got. Y'all let me know how y'all felt about it. How did it make you feel? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll talk y'all later on tonight. Bye.